Alisha Nelson, a name that echoed through the small town of Maplewood, Virginia. A name that once brought smiles now brought tears and questions. 25 years old with a bright smile that could light up a room. Alisha was the kind of person who loved to laugh. Her joy was infectious and her presence was a gift to those around her. She was last seen on February 12, 2021, in a town where everybody knew your name. Maplewood was a close-knit community, the kind of place where neighbors looked out for each other. But now, nobody knew where she'd gone. The streets that once felt safe and familiar now seemed eerie and empty, filled with whispers and worry. It was like she stepped into thin air, leaving behind a whole lot of questions in a town holding its breath. The search parties combed through every inch of Maplewood, but there was no trace of Alisha. See, Alisha wasn't the kind to just disappear. She was a homebody, loved her routines, and always kept in touch with her mom. Her life was predictable in the best way possible. She was a homebody, loved her routines, and always kept in touch with her mom. They spoke every day, sometimes multiple times a day. Alisha's mom was her best friend, her confidant, so when days turned into nights with no word, a chill settled over that small Virginia town. The sunsets that once painted the sky with beautiful hues now seemed to cast long, ominous shadows. Something was wrong, really wrong. The community felt it in their bones, a collective unease that grew with each passing hour. Alisha's mom, bless her heart, knew in her gut that something terrible had happened. She couldn't shake the feeling, a mother's intuition, that something was dreadfully amiss. A mother knows, you see, there's a bond, an unspoken connection that defies logic. Alisha's mom felt the absence of her daughter like a physical ache. She reported Alisha missing right away, but those first few hours, those precious minutes when every second counts, they seemed to slip away like grains of sand. The urgency was palpable, but the clock was relentless. They seemed to slip away like grains of sand. Time was their enemy, and with each tick of the clock, hope seemed to wane just a little bit more. The waiting was the worst part, not knowing. The silence was deafening. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of the wind, it all seemed to mock their helplessness. The community came together, holding vigils, praying for Alisha's safe return. They clung to each other, finding strength in unity, but the fear never left their eyes. The search efforts intensified, with police officers, search dogs, and volunteers scouring every possible location. But as days turned into weeks, the hope of finding Alisha began to fade. Alisha Nelson's disappearance left a void in Maplewood, a void that no amount of searching could fill. Her family, her friends, and her community were left with a haunting question: where was Alisha? News travels fast in a small town, especially bad news. It spread like wildfire. Alisha Nelson was missing. Doors that were once left unlocked were suddenly bolted shut. Parents held their kids a little tighter at the dinner table. The streets were a little less crowded at night. Fear does that, you know. It has a way of seeping into the cracks and changing the very fabric of a place. Whispers turned into rumors, rumors into speculation. Had she run off? Was there a secret someone was hiding? Theories sprouted up like weeds, each one more unsettling than the last. The police, they started asking questions, knocking on doors, trying to piece together the puzzle of Alisha's last known steps, but it was like trying to grasp at smoke. The rumor mill churned relentlessly. Some folks whispered about a mysterious car seen near Alisha's house the night she vanished. Others swore they'd heard shouting, a struggle. But whispers are just that, whispers. No one seemed to have any concrete answers, just more questions and a growing sense of unease. Theories, though, those took on a life of their own. Had Alisha run off to start a new life? Was there a secret love affair gone wrong, or worse? Had something sinister befallen her? The possibilities were as endless as they were terrifying. The not knowing, that was the hardest part. It gnawed at the edges of your mind, a constant, unsettling hum. The police, bless their souls, they started their search right away. They combed through Alisha's apartment, looking for any clue, any sign of what might have happened. They interviewed her friends, her co-workers, anyone who might have seen her in the days leading up to her disappearance. But it was like searching for a needle in a haystack the size of Texas. Volunteers, they came out in droves, wanting to help, to do something, anything, to bring Alisha home. They put up flyers, knocked on doors, searched every nook and cranny of that town and the surrounding woods. They held on to hope, clinging to it like a lifeline. But as days turned into weeks, the hope began to dwindle, replaced by a gnawing sense of dread. Alicia's mama, she was the picture of strength and heartbreak all rolled into one. Her eyes, though filled with tears, held a fierce determination. She was a mother on a mission, driven by an unyielding love for her daughter. Every day she would wake up with a single purpose: to find Alisha and bring her home. She never gave up hope, not for a second. Even when the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, her resolve never wavered. She believed with every fiber of her being that Alisha was out there somewhere, waiting to be found. She stood on street corners handing out flyers with tears streaming down her face, begging anyone and everyone for information. Each flyer she handed out was a piece of her heart, a desperate plea for help. She would approach strangers, her voice cracking with emotion, asking if they had seen her precious Alisha. Her voice, hoarse from worry and sleepless nights, echoed through the town square as she pleaded for her daughter's safe return. She spoke at community meetings, vigils, and any gathering where people would listen. Her words were filled with a raw, aching pain, but also with an unbreakable hope. She organized a candlelight vigil, and folks, they came from all over. Friends, family, and even strangers who had heard her story gathered to show their support. The vigil was a beacon of light in the darkness, a symbol of the community's solidarity and hope. The whole town, it seemed, was there, holding candles, their faces illuminated by the flickering flames. The soft glow of the candles created a sea of light, each flame representing a prayer, a wish, a hope for Alisha's safe return. They prayed, they sang, they shared stories about Alisha, about her infectious laugh, her kind heart, her unwavering spirit. Each story was a reminder of the joy she brought into their lives and the void her absence had created. It was a beautiful and heartbreaking tribute, a testament to the love and support that surrounded Alisha, even in her absence. The vigil was not just a plea for her return, but a celebration of her life, a reminder that she was loved and missed by so many. The community's unity and compassion shone brightly that night, offering a glimmer of hope in the midst of despair. Section 6: Clues in the Digital Dust. In this day and age, everybody leaves a digital footprint. Every click, every message, every post, it all leaves a trace. These digital breadcrumbs can tell a story, reveal secrets, and sometimes they can even solve mysteries. And the police, they knew that. They understood that in the digital age, the key to solving a case often lies in the digital dust we leave behind. They dug into Alicia's phone records, her social media, her emails, hoping to find a clue, a lead, anything that could point them in the right direction. They knew that somewhere in the vast sea of data there had to be something that could help them understand what happened to her. They traced her last known movements, hoping to find a pattern, a connection, something that would unravel the mystery of her disappearance. They looked at her location history, trying to piece together her final steps. And then they found something, a small detail, easily overlooked but significant. It was a breakthrough, a glimmer of hope in an otherwise dark investigation. A series of text messages sent from Alicia's phone just hours before she vanished. These messages were the first real lead they had. The messages, they were cryptic, strange. They hinted at something, but what exactly wasn't clear. They were filled with odd phrases and unusual language. They didn't make a lot of sense. The content was confusing, almost as if it was meant to be a code, something only Alisha and the recipient would understand. But they were a lead, something to work with. The detectives knew that these messages could be the key to understanding what happened to Alisha. They began to decode the messages, looking for patterns, hidden meanings, anything that could provide a clue. The police, they kept those messages close to the chest, not wanting to tip their hand, but they hoped those messages held the key to unlocking the truth. They knew that in the digital age, the smallest piece of information could be the difference between solving a case and it going cold. Section 7: A Community United. Through it all, the community, they rallied around Alicia's family, offering support, prayers, and that good old-fashioned small-town love. They organized search parties, put up ribbons, and kept Alicia's memory alive. They refused to let her be forgotten. They knew that even the smallest bit of information, the tiniest detail, could be the missing piece of the puzzle. They say it takes a village, and in this case, the village showed up. They showed up with open hearts, helping hands, and a shared determination to bring Alisha home. They knew that even in the darkest of times, hope could flicker, and they refused to let that flicker die. Section 8. The investigation continues. Years have passed, but the case of Alisha Nelson remains unsolved. The police, they haven't given up. They continue to follow up on every lead, every tip, every whisper. They know that somewhere out there, someone holds the key to unlocking the truth of what happened to Alisha. They've interviewed and re-interviewed witnesses, chased down dead ends, and analyzed every shred of evidence. But the answers, they remain elusive. The mystery of Alisha's disappearance lingers, a shadow hanging over the town, a constant reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of seeking justice. Section 9. Every tip counts. If you know something, anything at all about the disappearance of Alisha Nelson, please come forward. Don't let fear or uncertainty keep you silent. Your information, no matter how small or insignificant it may seem, could be the missing piece of the puzzle that brings Alisha home and provides some measure of closure to her family and a community forever changed by her absence. Remember, every tip counts. Every voice matters. Let's help bring Alisha home.